I think we have to push the rating of the book up 1 star because she's tried to
one.
yeah, she's tried to do. She tried to do something, maybe even up it to 0 because sometimes you have to take some points. You have to take some points off for a story that should have been good, that wasn't good, that was so easily could have been good.
Yeah,
it was like 100%. A tap in, and you it up. The main characters of this book were the bad guys. Can you imagine that Liam, using $100,000 of his dad's money, paid a woman to pretend to be his wife so that he could fraudulently steal his dead grandfather's money? $500 million! The worst part of it all is that Liam was already stinking rich as it was. He just wanted the inheritance money because he couldn't bear to see that money go to charity. So, do you think the author intended for us to actually see Liam and Anna as the villains of the story? Pause this video right now! Go and read The Paradise Problem by
Christina Lauren. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because we're going to tell you all about it. My name is Elijah.
And I'm Joseph, and welcome to the iShop Library. Do you know what? I'm going to throw a curveball this time and say I think so. I think
There's
so.
No way.
No, I think so. But I think at least she would have been aware of it. You can't not be aware of it because it's such an egregious crime, you know. And I was even thinking, like, are we supposed to? It's a very egregious crime. Like you said, this is you disrespecting your deceased grandfather's final wishes.
Just for his money. Just
and you don't even need it.
Just to get your filthy paws on his money.
Oh my God, you don't even need it.
Okay, so I'm onto something this time.
I think
normally,
finally, do you know what I mean?
Only take me a year and a half.
Broken clocks are right twice a day.
Yeah, so what did you think of the book, actually?
I really thought, as opposed to many other fake relationship stories that we've read, and there have been many, I thought this one really could have been something special. Really could have been something special. Having said that, I think they blundered it. Yeah, they
it up.
I'm gonna bleep all of this.
So boring. Yeah, no, I was thinking about that, you know.
Say what you want.
Yeah. You made this book so... I mean, it's like the author thought to himself, how can I make this book boring? As boring as possible, because this is the type of story that writes itself.
It really is.
How could I make this book boring? Let's do that.
Do you know what I thought really made
Nothing happened.
What really killed it? You know what really killed it? And it's such a fundamental thing. And it's such an easy mistake to make. It's a romance book. It was the romance that killed it. If it was just about...
Yeah, but you could have... Fair enough, you have the romance. You have it, but give us a... plot. Just like make something happen.
I don't think the plot I would have wrote for this book, it would not have wanted to share a stage with the romance aspect.
Yeah,
and
but
romance needs a certain amount of time because it's the meat and potatoes. So it needs a certain amount of time.
All right, but this is the thing. Fair enough. If you go down the plot route, you go down the romance route. If you go down the romance route, make it good. Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah. That's the problem. You just ruined the idea. You just wasted. You know when you take an outfit out to go to a motive, a party, and you've just wasted the outfit now. Now you can't use it again.
Oh, good. Just what I wanted. Another fake relationship story. After Funny Story by Emily Henry, The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Recolak, and Leather and Lock by Bryn Weaver, I think I've had my fill of this trope. Still, I will brew another cup of coffee and another one after that and power through this. It's not that I think it's a bad idea, quite the opposite actually, but very rarely is it executed in a way that I think is meaningful or interesting. Rather a monochromatic journey of indifference which leads into lust, and then love seems to magically manifest between one sex scene and the next. In fact, I'll go so far as to say the only convincing, entertaining and creatively executed fake marriage story I ever saw was We're the Millers. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, that was a fun.
So that was a really fun movie.
Fantastic. But you know what? I was rewatching that not too long ago, and I was actually rewatching the scene, the boat scene.
Oh,
remember the boat scene where the guy, his girl breaks up with him just before he goes, and then his face looks fresh. When he decides to try and kill everybody. That was hilarious. But yes, no, that was done well.
It was done well,
and that wasn't. Remember, you notice that wasn't the romance route, was it?
Yeah,
it was
wasn't.
More plot.
It was exactly. And romance was really a byproduct of it. Obviously, with movies and novels, the rules change. I accept that, but I just don't. When we read these stories that are about fake relationships, we know where this is going. Yeah. We know how it's going to get there. Also.
We know at some point at the end, someone will you marry me?
Do you know what I mean? It's not.
We know that's gonna happen.
Knowing where the story's gonna go is not so much. It's not necessarily a problem. But if I know everything about how it's gonna get there, it's a huge problem. It makes it extremely predictable.
It's entertain me.
If I know everything that's gonna happen on the next chapter before I read it, it's very, very difficult for you to entertain me. So I think if you pick this trope as a writer, you've automatically picked a losing battle. Automatically. But
they
what do we
pick
know?
it thinking
They're
they're picking
bestsellers.
a winning battle.
But they are. These are bestsellers. Do you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They're bestsellers. What do we know? We're just two black guys talking about these successful people.
At least one of us will talk. When I started this book, I couldn't decide whether Anna was annoying or I liked her. She seems very quirky. She's the I'm not like other girls type of girl, which is obviously overplayed in absolutely every single rom-com, TV show and book from the beginning of time.
Most overplayed thing ever.
But the surprising difference is Anna is actually funny. She's made me laugh a number of times. By the time I actually got into the book, I had to give it to the author. Anna's actually a character. She has a personality, which is something original. Anna actually has an interesting brain. When startled or confused, she would blurt out exclamations such as, "What in the smelling salts gentleman's waistcoat shit is that?" And "Are you shitting my dick?" These are the makings of a character that actually feels real, and I can say that a considerable amount of work from the author went into Anna. Even the time where Anna received Liam's Visa Black card and she says to her friend, "He just trusts me with this? How does he know I won't use this to buy a giraffe?" And it was just like, you know, you could see her brain. It's like, who thinks like that
100%.
sort of thing?
The first thing that came to her head, giraffe.
You know what I mean?
Like Lambo, no.
Yeah, so I did enjoy Anna as a character, but interestingly, it seems like I'm the only person who did. Lots of people in the reviews thought she was boring and generic. I think you all are full of Leave my Anna alone. But yeah, what did you think?
I agree with you, to be honest, but I think, you know, we've read so many of the same books for such a long time. Our brains have been conditioned a certain way.
You're just giving me one little thing and I'm like, yes, finally.
You know what it is? Because we read so many formula stories, we've conditioned our brains to like push up the creativity. Anything unique, now we focus on that because we're like magpies with anything
easily
unique.
pleased.
Exactly.
When everything's you know, you do one thing right.
Sort of thing. And it's like the people who read these kinds of books, you know, why do you go to McDonald's? You go to McDonald's for the same thing every single time. The people who read this sort of thing, they go for the same things over and over again. They don't want any of these maverick
And you know what, on
characters.
top of it, they want to complain about them.
Yeah, I mean, some of them do, some of them don't. But, you know, they want the same thing regardless. The complainers and the non-complainers all want the same thing regardless. So, you know, maybe these books just aren't marketed for us.
No, that's definitely the case.
So Anna Green is a starving artist and Liam is a Stanford professor. Meet our characters. What's the fascination with Stanford, by the way? Why is everyone all of a sudden, you know, works at Stanford or teaches at Stanford or whatever? Liam is one of 4 heirs to an enormous fortune, but before he can get his grubby hands on the $100 million cash prize, the posthumous requirements of his grandfather, Liam must be happily married for 5 years before he is eligible to inherit. As any reasonable, loving grandson would, Liam decides to fake his own marriage and defraud his dead grandfather in the name of stinky, filthy riches. Am I just being a pussy here, or is that a bit dark? Like, not only desecrating your grandfather's final wishes for, admittedly, a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a lot worse for a lot less. But do it for a fiver, mate. But seriously, though, I thought that's incredibly dark. Are we supposed to root for these characters?
Yeah, well, do you know what? As I said, well, I didn't say, but I think it was the author's intention for us to root for the characters. 100%. I don't believe she thought for a second that she was doing something bad.
So the one time we agree, we don't agree.
I don't think, I don't think she intended, you know, if she did, then I think we have to push the rating of the book up 1 star because she's tried to
1.
do. Yeah, she tried to do something, maybe even up it to 0 because you know sometimes you have to take some points. You have to take some points off for a story that should have been good, that wasn't good, that was so easily could have been good.
Yeah,
it was like a
100%.
tap in and you
you know, you're not you just it out.
The story was all right. The author was just. That's this story is built on a house of coincidences, each one conveniently aligning just in time to drive the plot forward. The marriage for housing loophole, sure, plausible enough. But then it just so happens to fit perfectly with the arbitrary 5-year inheritance rule. And at the exact same time, Anna loses her job over something ridiculous. And of course, she has no relationship, no commitments, no real obstacles, nothing standing in the way of her stepping neatly into this setup. It feels like the universe itself is bending time and reality to make sure the plot happens. And then incredulously, Liam turns up on Anna's door and propositions her, spilling the beans, begging for her help there and then. I didn't like this scene. It was way too unrealistic. It'd be stupid to confess everything to Anna, including the full amount of your inheritance, because it puts you at a disadvantage of the negotiation.
Of course.
What would have been good is if Liam had lied about some of the details of the inheritance. This would mean that Anna could somehow find this out later on down the line, which would trigger a renegotiation. It would be much more realistic for you to only offer to pay for her time. But yeah, it was actually at this point in the book where I decided that I liked Anna. I said, she's the perfect amount of idiot. This was when Anna was negotiating her salary and she could see that Liam has way too much money because he agreed on 10 grand way too easily. She said, wait, what's the number that would make you sweat just before you say no? 20,000? No, wait, 50? No, wait, 100? You know, and it was just like, it was just two idiots talking to each other. Because one gave away all the cards, and then the second one was like, I don't know how to negotiate. Just tell me, just give me the one, you know, give me the answer.
She just wants to see you sweat. Like, she just wants to feel like she's
Which is what obviously what you want to do, but you don't just say that to someone. You feel them out.
But, you know, it's like you said, they're a match made in heaven because he gave away all the cards, like, from the first, which is like...
I really need your help, I'll give you as much money as you want.
Can you imagine? It's the first thing of things not to do in negotiations, give away all the cards. You know, anyone who's ever played poker will know this.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we had multiple opportunities for the author to go in interesting directions instead of the boring, played out path. You know how interesting it would have been for her to say 20 grand, no 50, and he could have said, you want me to pay you 50 grand and I don't even get no pom-pom. And then she could have said, for 50 grand, I'll let you put it wherever you want.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it could have been a different style of romance book. It could have opened up the door to Anna being a woman driven by money, and Liam could have had some fun with her, you know, rat race style, you know. Oh, I bet you won't do this, take your knickers off and da-da-da-da-da. You know, they could have had some fun on the plane. You know, they could have had some, he could have been rolling, you know, £1,000 in notes and saying, do this, do that. You know, they could have had some fun, but no,
that's not what.
We didn't have none of that.
That's not what
he could have fallen in love with her still at the same time because she's fun.
Of course.
But we could have had something different.
That's not what the lovers of this genre want. They don't want that. They, you know, want this whole heartstrings kind of thing. They don't want any of the
talking
about a funny story about Emily.
Yeah, that's what they want. But that could have, Joseph, that could have been a good story. You know,
that wouldn't be a bestseller. We'd like it, and the reason why we don't know any stories like that is because they're not bestsellers. We never heard of them. So, you know, the people who love this genre, that's not what they want. But I agree with you. That would have been a much more interesting and, you know...
I can't see how you could, you know, you could have the romance in there, but just give us some entertainment, please.
Yeah, of course.
Please.
Yeah, I don't think there's an excuse to not. Like, I'm bored. In a story about, you know...
We're seeing how rich people live. How can we be
money
bored?
hungry?
All you've got to do is just amaze us with the, you know, the money.
Just power hungry, money grabbing, you know, oligarchs, and I'm bored.
Yeah.
It's ultimate fun, unforgivable, really. Giving Anna the added dilemma of a sick father was, in my opinion, a stroke of genius. All of a sudden, it's not just about the money for our characters or for us. Being responsible for a sick loved one and lacking the means to help them in a situation we all pray never to be in. And the stakes are much higher for Anna than they are for Liam. We all know what medical insurance is like in the US. These guys do not play about their money. Will our author have the balls to kill Anna's father off, or is his book rated PG-13? So Anna's father had leukemia.
You know what? I didn't think that for a second because I knew. You know, when you're reading this type of book, we just don't. We're not having.
I didn't think it was going to happen, but I wanted to ask the question anyway. But yeah, Anna's father had leukemia, and it was the kind of. If I had been watching a one-shot movie on Netflix, I'd have been like 100% the dad's 100% without a shadow of a doubt.
They can't do that sort of thing. Maybe it's too traumatic. When it's TV, it's just like that.
You know, when you watch movies, it's like I said, the rules are different. These reads are supposed to be comfort reads. Nobody wants a comfort read where the old sick dad dies at the end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
but
the rules are all different.
They definitely should have killed her off. They should have gone with my idea. You know, her grabbing as much money as she can. Then he dies in the end, but they find love. And then she can afford to cremate him or something.
Yeah, even that. It wasn't important to the story. I mean, he added context to Anna's situation. He added importance to Anna's situation.
Well, it's actually, you know what? I'll say this. I wanted to leave this to the end, but I'm going to say that, put it this way. Anna was the rock in the story. She was strong. She was strong. And what did she have? A strong father behind her. Because her father would give her advice on things and whatnot. So that's normally we see women as the damsel in distress, but it seems like when she has a strong man behind her, she seems to have her head on straight, which is interesting.
Evolution gave us two parents for a reason, right? Who'd have thought it?
Just as I predicted, unfortunately, the book is starting to drag. We got a touch of what we wanted, a spanner in the works, some form of drama where the partners in crime would have to work together to navigate their treacherous fabrications. There was a scene where one of Liam's brothers hurt himself while going for a swim, and unfortunately, the older doctor the only doctor who was around for miles turned out to be Anna, who was actually only pretending to be a doctor. It gave us the readers attention-gripping scene. Anna, forgetting her cover story, asks, "Why do you want me to look at his wound?" That's the type of person
why
I
you're
am.
only worth 10K. That's
That's the type of person I am. You drop me in the middle of something. I'm terrible at thinking on my feet.
Dead.
But yeah,
So
I don't.
One of your boys says, "Yeah, I was with Elijah."
Yeah,
the other day,"
I'll
You're
be
like, "What?"
Yeah, because I'll be thinking, my memory's terrible. I'll be like, "Was you?" Like, that's how I am. You got to give me the heads up
As soon
on
as
the
you
drop.
ask that question, it's over as well. It's actually all
You got to
over.
give me the heads up.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, I don't understand why the author didn't really play on that scene. We wanted Anna to have to perform stitches or something. Imagine her being squeamish about blood, having to stitch up somebody in front of the other family members watching her doing it. Or even if the author chickened out of that and had Anna burn her hands or slice her fingers to get out of having to stitch up Liam.
Something
Do you get
like
what I'm saying?
that.
So we
Yeah.
could have had some 4D chess going on.
There's a lot of missed opportunities for tension.
You know what I'm
in these
saying?
kind of scenes. Especially when you're dealing with a story that's based on fraud, like you kind of want to exploit you want to exploit the jeopardy of fraud.
Yeah.
Like someone's pretending to be a doctor.
Was
They're in a
barely
situation where they have to stick
the
somebody
problem
up.
is there was exactly. I mean, it's just a tapping idea. Come on,
tapping idea.
But the problem is like all of their cover story, it never really got tested. There was no need for
They
her
still
to
were clocked, but it never got tested.
Yeah,
So that,
exactly.
it was
just
it
was just like
asinine, really. Somebody pretend to be a lawyer, put them in a situation where they have
Exactly.
to advise somebody
Exactly.
legally or something.
Yeah.
Okay, this book is heating up. Alex, Liam's brother, is onto him. As I mentioned before, I can't imagine a family that would take very kindly to the memory of their dear departed loved one being desecrated by lies and greed. But in an additional twist, Liam's grandfather's will states that if any of the 4 sons are found to be lying about their marriage, they all get nothing. Imagine that was you, Elijah, and because I lied, you've now lost out on 100 million Great British pounds. Imagine how many tampons you could buy with that. But seriously though, imagine,
Guess what I'd be doing with them tampons if you got me out of 100, done me out of 100
100 million is not a small amount of money. So this is kind of why I felt like it was very relatable. Well, relatable was probably the wrong word, but it's a very, it's a polarizing dilemma to be in because yes, it's wrong to defraud your family. Yes, it's wrong to desecrate the memories of loved ones. But at the same time, that was 100 million pounds.
I mean, look, that's actually okay. If we take out the fact that it's far-fetched or whatever, but a story based on the fact that 5 or I don't know how many brothers it was, 4 or 5 brothers,
4 brothers
have to stay with their wives or they lose their inheritance. That's an idea on it by itself because the women could not know about this.
Yeah,
and then all the brothers are listen, treat her nicely. You lot get into arguments and whatnot. And the husbands could be bending over backwards to just please their woman because they don't want their woman to leave.
There's a lot of opportunities for tension, and they missed all of them.
Women walking around like queens,
100%, and they think it's because the husbands just love them so much, when really they just want about the money.
They're ready to lock them off once the money comes through.
100%.
So, what truly separates a genuine relationship from one where love is merely an illusion? If actors can master the subtle language of affection, the micro expressions, the gestures, the carefully chosen words so convincingly that we as an audience believe their love, then surely we too can be deceived. If the appearance of love is enough to convince us, does it not follow that we can be fooled into believing that someone loves us even when they do not? It is evident that we as human beings possess the ability to deceive others into thinking we love them. But a deeper question remains, can we deceive ourselves? Can we, through repetition and performance, manufacture our own emotions and come to believe in a love that was never truly there? If love can be performed so well that it appears real, then is it not possible that we are sometimes the victims of our own trickery? How can we ever truly know that we are not merely pretending to love our significant other? We all experience moments of doubt, days where frustration outweighs affection, where we long for solitude, where love feels distant. How can we be certain that these fleeting moments are not glimpses of a deeper truth?
These are big questions, and this is probably why love is so difficult, such a difficult thing to master, if anyone even ever really masters it. But, you got to...
Let me ask you a question that I want to ask you.
Go on.
Taking into consideration what I just said, is trying to find love a fool's errand?
Well, they call it the ultimate fool's errand,
Do they?
actually.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't think in so many words, but
Definitely not in
it's-
these books.
It's definitely not in these books. It's regarded as the ultimate fool's errand. They say like, to listen to one's heart makes you a fool, as opposed to your head. No one gambles with their heart, sort of thing. So all the intellectuals use their head, and it's seen as
So would
chasing
you
love is using
advise
your heart.
against looking for love then?
I mean, I would advise against solely, going on your heart 100% of the time. I think a good balance is definitely
No, but
healthy.
the idea of looking for love, because well, put it this way: philosophers, one could say that love is an illusion. It's just
Yeah, of course
perception.
you could. Of course you
So it's like when you're
Could make
chasing
a good case for that
when you're chasing a perception, you're
100%.
you're finished basically.
Chasing the fake titties. Do you know what's funny? I'm going to change my answer. I do personally discourage people from looking for love. And the reason why I say that is because
If it's meant to be, it will find you.
not only, look, I don't say it in so many words, but I've always said, women have always found me when I'm not looking. Every single, without fail, without a shadow of a doubt. As soon as I stop looking, I start thinking I'm going to focus on gym, focus on work, focus on anything. Women start coming out of the woodwork.
You wait 3
playing
years
with their hair.
You wait 3 years for a bus and 2
There you
comes at
go.
once.
Start playing with their hair, touching your arm. Like, bro, it's game over. But it's not. There's no manual for how to find love or where to begin looking for it or how
even
to go about
or how
it.
to spot it when you have it.
Or what it even is.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? There's no manual for this. You kind of have to stumble your way through it. And this is,
I hope for the best.
why you have these super geniuses that have, figured out the stock market or whatever. They can't find a woman to save their life. You have stupid people who've been married for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, there's no rhyme or reason to this. You just,
So
what happens.
So you got great chances then.
You know what? There is something I would like to give this story credit for. The underlying themes about money and how it can even turn blood against blood. Famous ex-basketball player Shaquille O'Neal said, when his children say, we're rich, he says, nah, I'm rich. And it's easy to see why. These people, Liam and his family, Alex, Jake, Raymond, they're all rich already. They're not starving artists like Anna, they have money. Some of them are COOs and CFOs. Liam is a university professor. All good jobs. And they're ready to put knives in the backs of their own family just to keep a piece of their grandfather's estate. So I thought this is, an extremely relevant underlying theme to a story. And it's like, this kind of, not holds up a mirror to people, but it also, no one thinks, oh, money's never going to change me. Have you ever told somebody about the lottery, for example?
What I will say, I'm going to say 2 things. One, this is a toxic family trope, right? That is something we've seen a few times before.
Yeah.
So maybe you're doing what I did in the beginning, where one little thing. We're just so grateful for that one little thing.
Maybe.
But I did like that. I did like
Yeah.
it. Don't get me wrong. One thing I didn't like or didn't understand is what was the significance with Anna and her gallery and her painting and stuff. That kept cropping up in the story somewhere. And it was just pointless. We don't care about your paintings. We don't care if you sell them.
And they had that whole thing where it was, what did
Liam
Liam
bought
like some of her paintings, and then she was mad at him for buying her paintings or whatever.
Yeah,
Women,
it's just like, what are we doing here? It was a waste of time.
I suppose. Yeah, I suppose. I wasn't a huge fan of that either, to be honest.
Yeah,
But I guess they wanted to emphasize the point that she's a starving artist. But she was working like a cash register job. That does the job,
Stealing
man.
a pack of gum.
Do you know what I mean? Anyone who's, working that job,
I don't know why
why
did they choose to have her fired like that as well?
Yeah,
It's just a bit random.
Yeah,
She was working there for how long, and then she accidentally forgot to pay for something, and then they fired her. Like, what's up? You should expect them to come around somehow.
Bro, if that's a customer, they'll say, take it, bro. They'll literally say, take it. I saw this thing on Reddit. They said, my card declined while I was buying a pack of pot noodle, and the cashier said, take it. I was like, bro, it's like 70p, man.
You, yeah. Sorry, I don't know if it's just me, but why do these guys like each other again? The relationship between Liam and Anna seems to be so superficial. They've barely gotten to know each other, but of course they are falling in love.
Of course.
And to top it off, can you imagine when they finally have sex, it was the best sex of their life?
Of course.
Who saw that coming, eh?
It's a disgrace.
I'm not sure I see the point of this story anymore. Is there even a plot? Not really. There's hardly anything relating to a wedding. And I'm certainly not having any fun reading this book. I'm so tempted to put the book down. And just like that, it's as if the author heard me and decides to add in something hidden into the terms and conditions that can coincidentally means that should Liam and Anna get found out, then everybody's inheritance, all $500 million goes down the drain. Was this the author's attempt at suspense? Because that was shockingly bad. You know, it was just like, it's almost like she was struggling. She was writing a love story and she was like, oh, maybe it's a bit boring. Let's just add in a little bit of,
yeah.
you know.
I suppose if we're looking at when it was revealed as opposed to what the reveal was, I would say it was bad. I don't think it was a bad reveal whatsoever. I don't think it was a bad twist.
Yeah.
But,
But
the
at
timing,
the end,
timing of the reveal was definitely
everything was going to plan.
Yeah,
and then all of a
exactly.
sudden, Liam
That
worked
sort of thing has got to be in the first
Yeah.
chapter. Like early doors sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because that needs to be part of the world building of the story. We need to like live with that suspense.
Somehow Liam just realised, oh, I forgot about that. You know,
I
if they
forgot
find
about
out, we need to up. They basically, the author said, we're upping the stakes.
Yeah, so I
Get
forgot
on
about
board.
the one thing that could cost me the whole thing I've spent this whole book trying to get. I don't think this story should have been a romance one. I think it actually could have been more unique, more relevant, and more memorable if it had been primarily been about Liam's family, the power-hungry and money-grabbing skullduggery behind closed doors, and the steps that Liam needs to take to repair what's left of his family. Meanwhile, Anna's storyline could have stayed the same, her motivation getting her sick father the help that he needs. Far be it from me to disagree with a best-selling author, but if you don't care for my opinion, then I'll ask you, what the are you doing on this channel, you bellend? So I thought it would have been.
You know what? You're right. You're actually right, because the motivations from Anna and her dad, that could have driven her to be doing the most heinous things. I mean, even if it,
betraying Liam, maybe trying to steal the money, doing some kind of underhanded,
even that,
anything, man.
Even that. But yeah, that definitely could have motivated her to do any. Liam could have got creative with things. It might not have just been, sexual favors. It could have just been things to, genuinely make him laugh, to laugh at Anna or whatnot. And she would have had to do it because she loves her daddy.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
so basically, we're better than a best-selling author, is what you're saying. That's what I heard. I'm sticking with it.
But I've read the reviews. I don't know if you looked at them. But
for this one,
I didn't see many people that liked the book. I'm not gonna lie.
Enough.
So, a lot of people.
So who bought it?
A lot of people didn't finish. I know that.
Oh wow.
A lot of people.
A lot of people didn't finish.
Jokes on them, eh?
I always finish.
Liam is doing what he's supposed to do as a man. Put aside your feelings and do your duty towards your family. Anna, his pretend wife, is telling him to them because if roles were reversed, they wouldn't choose you. So you should choose yourself. And I mean, that is the type of short-sighted thinking you could expect from an adolescent teenager. If you choose yourself, as Anna suggested, then you are justifying why in the hypothetical situation your family wouldn't choose you. And you're worse than them because they are continuing the cycle, whereas you are starting the cycle. Can you imagine that? Because Liam was bound to his duty, he said, no, I choose my family, as is his right. And his girl, Anna, broke up with him as a consequence. How is she different from Liam's controlling father?
Yeah, 100%.
Same thing.
Not only is that's a very good question, but another good question is, what would she expect him to do if she was his wife? If she was his family, let's say, would she expect him to stay with his family, or
do you get what I'm saying? How can you be?
Why would you want to be with a person that turns on their family
for their own selfish?
Do you know what I mean? He'll turn on you.
Yeah, exactly. It's just so stupid. But yeah, one thing I will end on is that I will say this is a little bit different because one thing I'll say which is different in this story versus the typical romance is that the woman is the savior in this story and the man is the damaged one. And again, we're clutching at straws here in terms of,
100%, because that's been so many. We've had so many that are similar to that. We don't really have a man being a damsel in distress per se.
But that's not enough of a reason.
It's always been the whole, I want to fix him, I want to rescue him, I want to domesticate this really, really bad guy sort of thing. And this is how, these female main characters get themselves into whole heaps of trouble, ignoring red flags. If ignoring red flags was an Olympic sport, they take home gold every year.
But I couldn't recommend this book. It was just like, do you know what? You can recommend this book as what not to do. You're right.
Was it not even a do's and don'ts guide, just a don'ts guide?
Don't do this. You got a good idea, don't execute it like this.
100%. She used an iPhone 14 Pro Max to prop up a table. It's just like, it's just, disdain. Because look what you had and you wasted it.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
Quote of the day. Insomnia sharpens your math skills because you spend all night calculating how much sleep you'll get if you're able to fall asleep right now. I think we've all been guilty of that from time to time, Or at work, I do it at work as well.
I used to do that. I do it every night, to be honest.
I'll be like, my shift, I only have half an hour, 4 times left of my shift.
What?
Have you ever done that?
You do that?
Yeah, well, I used to. I don't really do it anymore, to be honest. I don't watch the clock. But, back in McDonald's days, I'll be like, it's just half an hour, 4 times. sort of thing till the end of your shift.
Do you know
I'm
what?
sure
It's
everyone's
been
done
so
that.
long since, because look, when you drive for a living,
Oh, okay.
the time goes like that. I'm telling you.
I thought you was gonna say you got to keep your eyes on the road.
Oh, not that. Don't worry about that. But yeah, no, the time goes so quick because you're sitting in traffic and you're trying to get to a certain place by a certain time.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I work 10 hours every single day. Well, more than that. And I blink and it's over. It's every day. It's weeks go by. Months go by. It's not good. Not years go by. I'm like, what did I do? I don't know.
You're
Just
losing
like that.
daylight. You're losing daylight, bro.
Yeah,
You're losing
it's
hours.
crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
But yeah, on that note, outro.
Oh god. Quickly, rating. What would you rate for the book out of 5?
Oh, I wouldn't. It's just...
Doesn't bear thinking about.
You just put a 1. Zero's rude. Just put a 1.
Zero's
It's just
very rude.
terrible. 1 is, but it's just terrible.
Listen, she's feeding families off that one, you know. So don't
She
feel bad.
is
To
a 1.
Don't feel bad to give her a 0. She's feeding families off
No,
that.
I wouldn't. Yeah, no, honestly, your book's rubbish. I'd give it a 1 because I like Anna.
Fair enough. I would also give it a 1, primarily because I think it's rude to give it a 0, as you said. 2, because I feel like it was a great idea. And an iPhone 14 that's propping up a table is still an iPhone 14 at the end of the
I
day.
guess so.
So 1.
But I wasted my time reading it though,
Yeah.
and I want it back.
100%. Oh, my money back too.
Yeah, but yeah. Listen, it's time to go. It's time to end.
Till next time.